Welcome back to another episode of Emotional Nightmares. My name is Tyler. I'm your host. And on today's episode, we're going to get a little bit more into the spiritual realm. I know we've talked a lot about substance abuse on this channel. We talked a lot about the mental health. This kind of ties into a little bit of everything. So on today's episode, we have with us a special guest who is going to talk to us a little bit about that. So do you want to kind of introduce yourself to the people?
So my name is Michelle Ella Powell. My brand is Awkward Sinner. Awkward because I have never fit in. Sinner because I sure as shit am not perfect. And yet, God works miracles through my life every single day. And so it's been a beautiful journey of remembering exactly who the fuck I am and trying to help others do the same. So that's a little bit about me. And I'm located in Florida.
Okay, nice. So, well, I'm going to dive deeper into that, right? So can you tell me the story behind the Awkward Sinners?
I was one of those kids that I was badly bullied. And I never fit in. I was so much energy. I never shut up. When I look back on it now, knowing what I know and understanding that at the time, the wounded inner child, how sad I felt and like I was too much and like something was wrong with me. And I look back, I feel so bad for my parents because for them, from their journey, it was the hardest seasons of their life. Like they were rebuilding after bankruptcy and moving and all this other stuff. And here comes Michelle, the surprise, who was just full of life, so much energy. And, but at the time, from my perspective, I mean, I was bullied so badly in school that in third grade, I actually ran away from school property. Like the kids all got around me and told me that I had crabs. And I didn't know what that was, but I knew it didn't sound like it was good. And they all called me a lesbian. And again, I was like, I don't understand what's happening. And I overflowed and I actually ran away. And even with my own family, my whole family loves God. I grew up super duper Christian. The way I practice my faith now is very, I understand energy. It's very eclectic. My family is still very rooted in their old ways. But, for whatever, we all kind of grew up with that spirituality. Shit, I lost my train of thought. It went, boom, right out the window. Felt the emotional trauma. So.
We were talking about being bullied.
Yeah, the bullied thing. So even my family used to try to pray the spirit of rebellion out of me. Talk about feeling like something is wrong with you. Meanwhile, I never got in trouble. I didn't do drugs till I was in my 30s. Like I was so concerned that I was gonna sin and miss out on heaven. I tried with all my might to be perfect. And even in my best days, they're still trying to pray the rebellion out of me. I ended up, I at 17 convinced my parents to let me go live in Texas at a Christian prep school, which is a cult. It was a cult. It was a cult. It is what it is. And I stayed there for 6 months, came back completely brainwashed. I had no concept of the world.
Now, did you know it was a cult when you were going into it?
No. No.
Just once you got there, did you figure it out when you got there or later?
No. I didn't figure that out till many, probably more than a decade later when I realized, wait a minute. I mean, because I wanted to go there. Nobody tricked me into it. Like, I fully went, and I went with the support of the universe to go learn some lessons. But I didn't even make the whole program. Like, it wasn't meant to be. But it was for a big purpose. So, because I learned a lot. I ended up, though, coming out of there with, I don't know, it's like living in a bubble. And so I was prey for a sociopath, a narcissist, a predator, my first husband, and ended up getting married way too young to the wrong person and trapped in this psychological, emotional nightmare of sociopathic narcissism for over a decade. That I had to run away and disappear. I had to go hide. I had to, boom, vanish. Where'd Michelle go? I don't know. Yeah,
I mean, is that how you got out? Is you just kind of
yeah.
ran away? Okay.
No, I left for vacation through a series of events that can only be described as everything happens for a reason, because there was no way that this should have happened, and it did. I ended up without a job. I had moved to Tennessee with my first husband, and I said, hey, I'm going to go to Florida for vacation. I'll be back in like 2 weeks, just before Christmas. Packed up my dogs, my stuff, came to Florida on vacation, and never went back. And he came and looked for me and couldn't find me, so it was just very interesting. So all that, I lost all of my faith. I was an atheist for a while. I was an agnostic for a long time. I had to deprogram all of the bullshit because I could always find the love. I was like, Jesus or God is love. I was like, okay, some of this, I could take some of this, but then they'd be like, but the gays are wrong and slavery and all this other shit. And they're burning babies. I'm like, what is wrong with people that think that this whole thing is true? Can't you look at it and be like, oh, this resonates love. This is some poor, upset person should have never wrote this on paper. Yeah. And the Christians, unfortunately, give up their right to sovereignty, and they don't think for themselves. They don't judge it against their own heart. They just take it as it is. And so that fell apart for me, and I had to figure out what does that mean? What are all these things? And so on my own journey, I always was called to Buddhism. I always was called to the Tao and just that sort of stuff. And I basically crafted my own shit. And when I turned 40, which was 2 years ago, everything came back online. Like, it's like a reboot. I was hit this point in my life where it was literally like, what the fuck? And it was like my emotional, spiritual, mental bottom. Life wasn't horribly bad. I just had my second baby. I had postpartum depression. Like, there was a lot of stress, but generally speaking, no one was hitting anybody, right? But the toxicity and the misery made my whole body go, oh, no, we're not doing this.
So in a sense, so this is when you had your great awakening.
I call it my reawakening, because I have had multiple mystical initiations throughout my entire life. So the really first big one kind of go back to when I was around 14-ish, but so this I tend to say is a reawakening, and I can consciously remember in my late 20s turning it all off. I was like, I don't want no more. This is too much. I couldn't make it fit into any of my boxes for me to understand, and life was too sad to deal with the faith at the same time while I was under this intense psychological abuse from my then husband. So yeah, I shut it off, and when I didn't pick for it to come back on, it just did. And then I just radically took the reins back of my life and started to make changes. And I only launched my brand about 6 months ago, and I have been shocked at how quick, well received I am, and then also how good of a manifester I am as far as setting intentions. Like for the beginning of 2024, I said, I'm seeking clarity and strength and intuition. And by the end of the year, I was working as a professionally paid psychic in the most expensive psychic shop in my town. So there's your strength and intuition. And clarity, I was like, oh, I know who I am. I really do. And I was at that time really just starting to remember what I'm here to do. And so, yeah, it's been a wild ride. But, dude, emotional nightmares. Oh, that's what it took to get here. So, yeah, now I'm like, oh, look, I could do magic and miracles all day long. But you guys, it was a rough ride to get here.
It always is. But so can you tell me, all right, so now I'm going to speak some of your language, right? So can you give me your concept of energy realignment? So the energy alignment and the importance of it in healing.
So the way that I see us, human beings, most people they either know or they've been told or they're starting to remember that we are more than just our body, right? Inside this body, you are a billion conscious cells or little quirks and all the things moving around. Somewhere along the line, I could see this. When I was little, I could see things behind my eyes when I closed my eyes. And I remember asking my parents, that's nothing, that's anything interesting or magical that happened to me when I was a kid. If my parents couldn't read it verbatim from the Bible, it was like it didn't exist. If I said I had a prophecy, they were like, okay, if it's in the Bible, you can have it. If I said I had a wild imagination, some magical thing, or I could see visions behind my eyes, nope, that one doesn't fit. I'm like, okay. So when everything kind of came back on, I realized that I could see energy particles. I could see like them both as particles and as lines moving simultaneously. About a year ago, I started to be able to see it in color. But part of this also has given me like the ability to sense it and feel it. I had to do all of it on myself first. Like I had to really understand, wait, if I'm angry, what's the difference between righteous anger and like bitter driven anger? And like, wait, if I'm feeling a sense of love, is this a love coming from a space of attachment? Or is this a love from like a truly pure innocent space of love? Like I had to like do some dynamic energy categorizing for myself because of the psychological bullshit that I was surrounded around. Because I'm having people tell me that I'm wrong all the time and it doesn't make sense to my body. To the point that I'm like going to the doctors and I'm like whatever and all this other stuff. It was wild. And so when I started to look at people and energy alignment, so when I was little I could always see it. As an adult now, I can categorize it better, so I can articulate better. So let me give you an example. Growing up with the super Christian stuff, we did have church in my house. And we had like signs, wonders, miracles, and prophets in my living room. At some point, my dad had a pain in his neck, and he asked me to pray for it. So I prayed for it, it moved to his shoulder. I prayed for it, he moved to his arm. I prayed for it again, and for no reason, no one had ever done this before in our little room. I went to the front door, I opened the door, I stood there for a minute, like, and then I think I left it open, and then like I walked back over and looked at everybody, they were like, what was that? I said, I don't know, I felt like it needed an escort. They call that healing, like I removed an evil spirit. I now, as a grown-ass adult spiritual person, call that an energy alignment. Like that is a balancing of energies. And there are times when I do that. There's times when I feel no need to do that. It totally depends. But that's kind of where that energy alignment comes into it. And even just in the last year, really, it's like I'm starting to be able to articulate better the really integral differences of like something like an energy alignment and what does that really mean? Because that's a question I ask myself all the time, trying to be able to find the more universal way to explain concepts like that. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question?
Makes sense to me. Okay. I'm sure it makes sense to somebody listening. Right? So do you see the colors that you can't identify yet? Like when I do a sound bath, right? So like I've done a sound bath a million times, and every time I do them, I see these vivid colors, but I can't put a name on it because it's a color that Crayola never named. You know what I mean?
There's shades of gray for me. There's shades of gray, and they're in the background. And this is one of the reasons why I also figured out a while ago, because the way I grew up, everything dark was bad. Dark, Satan, evil, And I had to find out on my own journey that this is not true. And it would be like we could have gray areas for some things, because I'd be like, wait a minute, the speed limit is 45 and you are going 55 and you are telling me that you feel no guilt about this and somehow this is okay. But technically, the Bible says you have to follow the laws of Caesar. So like I would have questions like this about the intention and the morality and the motivation about all the decisions that we were made, and looking for what I call high truth, that which cannot be dismantled. And so that's kind of how like the colors and all this stuff can come into it. And it's weird. It's so cool that you can see them, and you can, because I don't talk to a lot of people either that can see the shit.
Yeah. I can only do it. I can only see them during a sound bath. I have a friend that got me into them, and she does these things, and like it seems to be whenever she's doing those, like I can see these colors, and like I'm always in a room. I always like I go to different rooms and stuff. I don't know. It's crazy when I explain it to normal people because they don't get it, but like I see these vivid colors that I just can't explain because Crayola didn't put a name on them yet. So like trying to explain that to somebody, I just don't. So I don't have to talk about it. I'm just like, yeah, there's colors. I don't know, but yeah.
Are you able to recall them? Like if you were to close your eyes and get in like a meditative space now, can you open that field to allow the colors to be seen should they want to?
No, I can't do that, but I do. I can. So there's a little bit more that I see when it happens. I can like recall. I can lay in bed at night and like recall like this space. So like for me, like it's always I'm with this native. I'm always with this native, right? And for for the sake of argument, we'll call him a Native American. But I'm always with this native, and there's always these birds, but they're not eagles. They're not a bird I can even identify, and like, and there's always these colors, and like, this guy always pushes me. He always pushes me off the thing and tells me to be free. I don't know the meaning behind it yet, but every time I do one of these sound baths, I end up in the same situation. The last time I did one, he didn't push me, so I'm not sure what he's doing, but yeah. And there's like, but he pushes me into these colors, like these
Okay.
very vivid colors.
So I would like to ask you. I would like to
This
ask
is
you.
about you, not me.
No, but this is so much fun, dude. You gotta. All right, I have to at least make the offer because this is so much fun. And I already said earlier, I was like, I'm gonna have so much fun tonight. I don't know who Tyler is, but we're gonna have so much fun. Tyler, I would love to do like a 5 minute mini meditation with you, like right here, right now, and just see what happens. What do you think?
Okay, yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay.
On the camera?
Right, yep, on the
On
camera.
the
You don't have to
episode?
yep, just gonna I've actually done this for a couple of other podcast hosties, and I just sort of go as I feel led. And oh, hold on, let me write my notes here real quick. Um
Well, we'll tell the audience to join in.
Absolutely they can because this does work. Um Go ahead and take a couple of deep breaths. Get yourself so you feel nice and comfortable, and close your eyes when you're ready. So to breathe in through your nose, out through your mouth, fully inflating your lungs, giving yourself permission to relax. Permission just for a few minutes, wherever you're listening, whoever you are joining us, permission to relax and to see what magical wonders may lie ahead. Spirit, I thank you that there is only one source, God, creator, universe, and it resides in all of us. I ask right now that the presence and spirit and energy of love fill this space, touch everyone that hears my voice. As we breathe together, Tyler, I want you to envision big, thick tree roots growing out of your feet. See these big, thick tree roots growing out of your feet, going down into the earth, through the all of the ground, down, 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 down. See it all the way till you get to the center of the earth. And at the center of the earth, I want you to imagine a ball of brilliant white light. This is the heart of the divine feminine, the heart of Gaia, the heart of our planet Earth. See yourself plugged in right now, breathing in that connection, and again, giving yourself permission to relax. permission to take a leap of faith, permission to trust a complete stranger, and more so, permission to trust yourself. Right now, I speak peace over his vessel, alignment. Give yourself permission to let go of every worry, every doubt, health needs, money needs, family needs, relationships, letting every heavy burden go, other people's thoughts, other people's expectations, other people's emotions, releasing it, just letting it go. To the earth it goes. And as you breathe in, I want you to imagine fresh, revitalizing earth energy, feeling that stability, that sense of groundedness, knowing that you are foundationally supported in the here and now. Everything is perfect. You are exactly where you need to be. And breathe. For all of us right now, every one of us, Tyler included, I want you to imagine you are in a forest. You are walking through a forest path. There is a perfect breeze, a perfect canopy of trees over top. You can see the sun coming in. Can you smell the forest? Can you hear the crunching leaves underneath your feet? Breathe it in. And as you walk to the end of this path in this forest, it opens up to a big, beautiful field. For those of you online, I invite you to go sit. Find a beautiful rock in this field of flowers and beauty. Sit by that rock. Invite your spirit guides to speak to you, that which you need to know most, that is aligned with your highest good and the good of all. Tyler. We welcome in your spirit guides, your ancestors, and those who are aligned with your highest good and the good of all. And I want you to see this space where you are at this place and take notice of how you feel. Because you are being called to no longer need to be pushed. This is up to no one but you. Freedom is in the other direction. The thing that you don't want to do, the go, the jump, the off the cliff, that is truly letting go. Flying. Rebirth. But only you can give yourself permission to go. I want you to put your hand on your heart. And in your mind, I want you to repeat. It doesn't have to be perfect, but I love myself. I am worthy of all that I could ever dream. I am worthy of more than I could ever dream. I am the divine spark. I am the hand of God here on earth. I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. I am loved. I am good. I am worthy, and I am free. And take a deep breath. I invite the Spirit of God to touch him right now from the top of his head to the soles of his feet. Give him the words, visions, messages he needs. Let him fall into the colors. Harmony, take him. The master of harmony, take him and show him the way. I can't say it all. Take him and show him the way. He needs to see himself. Show him the all of the all. I invite everyone who is hearing my voice and who is still with me to take a few deep breaths and find a space of gratitude, giving yourself permission to be grateful for everything you are experiencing right now in your life, and to know that better days are still ahead. Your life is not over. And I encourage you to remember who you are. Go within. Ask yourself the hard questions. Who the fuck am I? So that you can remember your divine origins. And once you begin to remember who you are, you will start to remember what you came here for. Take a deep breath. Take what resonates. Leave the rest. And take it all in. And love, we are all perfectly safe and supported by love. And so it is. And Tyler, whenever you're ready, take your time. You can open your eyes. How was that?
Very, very calming. Very
Did,
calming.
did anything interesting happen that you care to share? You may not want to share, and it may take some time. Sometimes not everybody wants to share right away. So,
Um, I mean, it's that colorful bird. He's always there, you know? Uh, kind of guiding, I guess, more or less to like where I need to be. Um, I always see that, like, anytime I do anything like that, like, even now, like, I just see that, I see that native, and, I don't know, he's trying to get me to do something, but I'm not sure what I'm doing.
so he's your spirit guide. He's your conscious representation of your spiritual team. That is the form in which they express it to you. And he wants you to take a leap of faith in your life. And it's likely wherever there is the resistance, the greatest amount of resistance. But I think it'll come to you in a dream soon. And if not, I didn't mean to hijack this whole podcast interview into your personal life, so we can move on. But
No, it's
I think
good. I mean, it's good, and like especially for the people listening, right? Because um, hopefully, I mean, they get something too, right? Because it's all about healing, and it's like we got all this trauma inside of us, and like this is another approach to healing that trauma, and like at the end of the day, like, if they are feeling that calming, you know, we can find our way over to like your website and to find you directly and continue that healing process. Because that's really what this is about, is getting out of this emotional nightmare and getting into the healing process. So, um, that's what we're trying to do. So,
exactly. I mean, that's really what worked for me, and I remembered it from when I was a kid. Like, if I could find that energy of love, and that is what has saved me every time, is following that. And it looks different for everybody, and that's beautiful, I think. But as long as people find that path, whatever it looks like for them, to realize that they're worthy to feel happy and to not be trapped in that nightmare.
absolutely. So, when you're doing this, right? So there's a lot of misconceptions, a lot of skepticism, right? Because like you were talking about, uh, not only the guided meditation, but like you have tarot cards there in front of you. So at one point in time, like I was a carny, right? So as a carny, we got to hang around a bunch of gypsies. So you get to really see and gypsies is the poor word, but like for lack of better terms, around them who really, like I've had some incidences with them that's wild. That like you're like,
I
oh
believe
wow,
it.
yeah, I definitely believe in this stuff. But you get all
Yeah.
this skepticism and you get these people that don't necessarily believe. What's the biggest misconception that you hope to break w- through on all this?
That the things that we are afraid of are actually bad. So people are afraid of the occult or witchcraft or spirits, tarot, all these things. And this is just like the one branch of it. Like, there's other parts of the world where this stuff is not scary, but like
Right. Right.
us here in the U.S., where because of the way that things have been, this is all very woo woo and scary. And when you realize that you must look at the thing that you fear most, whatever that is, because at the end of the day, this is what I would say. I was like, if when I was super Christian, because I was never afraid. Like I went to Africa and cast out demons and strangers and all these sorts of things. And when it came to what they would call spiritual warfare, to me it was never scary. I just somehow was born knowing, I don't know, the rules. I don't know, whatever you want to say. And so most people, they they run away from whatever they're scared of, and they won't look it in the face. Like I told my mom, I was like, your Jesus is so big. You tell me all the time. You think if I bring tarot cards in your house, like Satan's gonna get you? Like that's not the way it works. And so, but that's the way she treats it. Like the
Yeah.
fact that like my parents, like my dad used to beg me to pray for him when something hurt or he didn't feel good. And he went through a time where I had left all my faith. I was like, I'm an atheist. He would still ask me, please, will you pray for us? Will you pray for me? I said, I don't want to. Well, now I am again actively working in my gifts. My dad is 88 and his body is breaking down. And he doesn't want me to pray for him. I'm like, are you insane?
Mm.
This has nothing to do with me, anyways. It really has nothing to do with me. It has to do with the psychological breaks and blockages that we put into our own mind. And every one of us has them. I have them. I'm just really constantly trying to unwire them because I'm trying to get where I'm going really quick. But all of us have things that we need to deprogram. We have emotions we need to feel. We have to feel them. And yeah, you have to look at what you are afraid of and stop assigning everything label as good, bad. The world is not, the old world is in duality. The new world is not.
I yeah, I agree. I agree 100% with that. So so many questions. What challenges have you faced in this journey?
Complete and total loneliness and aloneness in more ways than one at more seasons of my life. So in my first marriage, he really was like, I know he was a trained predator. I was prey. I was mark. So the rate at which he isolated me from my whole world, my friends, my everything, and married me quickly, that I spent probably hundreds of hours sitting alone by myself. Middle of the night, couldn't sleep, middle of the day, didn't have anything to do, just completely alone. Me and my dog, Rusty, rest in peace. That dog lived to be 18. He was amazing. He was my best friend for that whole season of my life. Me and Rusty would sit and stare, and I would tell myself, I don't know how, but someday this won't be my life anymore. But that loneliness sucks. It does. Now here in my life today, I am happier and more like I feel better than I have ever felt in my life consistently daily. But I don't own my emotions. I just sort of let them go. So while I feel amazing, I'm probably going to end up in a divorce with my husband. I have to radically shift my life. I have no idea what's going to happen with my parents. If I do and go the places where I'm going to go, it's a very strained relationship because they're convinced I'm going to hell, and I am kind of done hearing about it. I don't particularly mind that that's their opinion. I just don't want it shoved in my face. So even while I'm in this space, I'm in that space where I haven't done the thing that I said I'm going to do yet. I'm doing it live action right now. So this is the space where all the people close to me are like, well, did you do it yet? No, no, you haven't. Well, where's that book? I'm like, listen, you know, I have tens of thousands of words written. I'm doing it, but I also have small kids and a marriage that's, and I'm trying to love and light that thing back to death to life, and I don't think it's going to happen. And so it's been very, very interesting, and I've been very, very raw and vulnerable about it in the process because that's why I named myself Awkward Sinner. I did not come to this earth to be perfect. And when I realized that I could start making a living and doing the thing I was called to do before I hit a ready stage, because you would never be ready. So what I started with was, well, what do I already know? What am I a master of? Because that I can teach other people of. And I was like, ooh, some of that psychological stuff, some of that woo-woo magic stuff that I was born with, that I didn't have to be taught how to do that. I just came with that was default setting for me was, ooh, touch you, you're better. Great, that's cool. Thank you, God. So I sort of started honing that stuff in, going to therapy and getting healing my own stuff, and like I'm a different person than I was 2 years ago, and I'm going to be drastically different in 5 years. I already know.
Well, how do you stay so grounded, right? Because as a healer, and like, so like your end is a lot different than like my end. Like my end, like I do the mind, obviously, right? Like I have a master's in psychology, so I do psychology work. So sometimes you tend to carry other people's traumas, right? Like you take every day you're listening to other people's traumas, and sometimes you take that with you, right? Like, how do you stay grounded to maintain your energy?
So those are actually two different questions because staying grounded and maintaining my energy are different in this regard. My work with other humans energizes me. So like I did like I don't know, it was like a 2 hour couple session with this lovely couple that has no marriage problems. They're just lovely, happy souls who decided to book like a couple's reading. Like I did like side by side cards and I did energy work and it was just this lovely space. And she texted me later, she's like, "Are you tired?" I'm like, "Oh no, I feel amazing. I feel like I could run a marathon." So my work, my purpose energizes me. But Gemini, ADHD, left-handed, I'm very the grounding. I always need other people to keep me grounded. Enter my children. They're great at that. They're 3 and 6. My 3-year-old and my 6-year-old, they keep me extremely grounded. And that and reminders like my spiritual practices keep me grounded, like making myself meditate or journal or listen to something that is feeding me on a level that keeps me in a grounded mind space. Do you know what I mean? And I
Hmm.
have good friends. I don't have a lot of them right this minute, but I've got she's right there. So it's yeah.
Okay. So, what does awakening to the spirit of love within mean to you personally?
Remembrance. Remembering. I go back to I tell people all the time, God is real, but it is not what most people have been taught. And the best way I could say it is God is the universe, is an energy, is consciousness, is love. Is love. You can experience God as peace. You can experience God as joy. You can experience God as hope. But to make it easier for most people, God is love. And if I
I
can
mean,
get
personally,
people,
I think God is a female. I get a lot of flack for that, but like I think because of your concept, right? So, because I believe in love and I believe in unconditional love, and to me, if I have to put a face to it, I think God is that of a female because to me that represents the unconditional love that most males per se don't necessarily have. So, like when we get real technical, I think God is a black woman, right? I think I like real technical.
I've heard that before.
Yeah, I mean, real technical, like I think that, right? But like I think of the unconditional love, so like I think of God as this this female version of energy per se.
So what you're talking about is the divine feminine. God,
Yeah.
God is neither male nor female, and also both male and female. Because if you want to talk about source, you go back to the very beginning where everything was one and starts as a we are the all of the all. There is no separation. The separation is an illusion. So there is, but for the sake of, do you know the the Hermetic principles?
Don't know the Hermetic principles, but what you're talking about is it's in the Book of the Dead from the
Oh,
Egyptians.
yes,
So I do know a little bit about it.
yes. So it's easier now. What unfortunately, because of the way that the world has gone, the divine masculine. This is, I don't know that I've ever said this out loud, but I'm gonna say it. I feel like the divine masculine collectively has gotten sick. Real emotional imbalance. And what is happening right now is the divine feminine is pissed off. And we are rising in men and women all over the world. This has nothing to do with a gender thing. It is the divine feminine, that earth energy, that Gaia energy, that Isis energy, that dark feminine, all the things, whatever you want to flavor you want to put it in, is rising up globally because we're pissed. And we also love all of the things that we would like to see things set straight. And depending on what your visions and beliefs are, there's a lot. I could go on and on and on about weird things. But when you say divine, you say you see God as a woman. I get that 100% what you mean. And if I did have to pick, I would say a black woman, absolutely. And she's mad at all.
Absolutely. So,
This.
where can our viewers find you? And I'm gonna put your links obviously in the descriptions, but where can they find you at for those
My
listening on Spotify?
My website is awkwardsinner.com. I write a blog. I have a list of my services, how to get a hold of me on there. I am also on Facebook, Instagram at Awkward Sinner. My Facebook page is probably the best place to like catch me. And occasionally, randomly, I'm on TikTok at the Awkward Sinner. And if you look for Michelle Ella Powell on Spotify, I've got several interviews. I only started doing this about 3 months ago. I've met the coolest people, and it's been really fun, trying to get myself out there and connecting with different people. And I've had strangers reach out to me from all over, and it's very, 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 very exciting to see what is happening right now.
It's
Yeah.
fun. It's fun talking to people all over the place. I've only ever done in live sessions. So like all my stuff was live, like with people beside me in studio, in person. But we started kind of branching out into these video calls so that I can reach everybody all throughout the world. Like I had a girl from the UK on, like trying to get everybody in the world. So it was really cool, this season particularly, getting to like meet all the different realms and all the different faces, and because on our channel what we're trying to promote here is the many pathways to recovery, right?
Absolutely.
I don't care how you get there, you just got to get there.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of something for everybody. So like what you're doing, one of my listeners, they might not believe in, and that's okay, but the other person might believe in it. And like at the end of the day, it's not for everybody, but hey, as long as you can get into healing and heal from that trauma, that's all that really matters at the end of the day. We don't care how you get there, you know? So, yeah, no, it is fun. It is fun. Is there anything that you would like to add that I have not asked? You kind of threw me off with the meditation. I'm not gonna lie. I had like all these questions in my head and I forgot most of them, but that's okay.
I am a change bringer. I do it on accident. I just get excited about stuff, and but I've long since accepted this is something that comes with the territory of being myself. But I don't know. I would say if anything that I have said resonates with anybody, I always refer people to Dr. Joe Dispenza and Vision Lakiani and Mind Valley and Regan Hillier. They are people who are they're leading humanity to help to start to get to know ourselves, to understand ourselves better. And so if anybody is interested in what I have talked about, by all means go check them out. They are brilliant. Yeah, that's it.
All right, so as always, man, you guys could have been anywhere in the world. You chose to sit here for 45 minutes and listen to us, so I greatly appreciate you. Like I said, hopefully you got something that you needed. If you did not, there's 20 million podcasts out there. Go listen to another one. Find it. I don't care how you get there, as long as you get there. That's all that matters, man. So keep listening, like, share, subscribe, and then listen again. Make sure you listen on Spotify as well, not just YouTube. So we appreciate you, and thank you for jumping on the channel.